I ran across a quote from Aristotle, the famous philosopher. He said, "There's only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing." Now, we all run into criticism in our life, every one of us. So how do we handle that? What do we do when we're personally criticized, when people put us down? Where do we turn? What do we look to? Well, thinking about this, I ran across the scripture in Joshua. Talk about a man who was going to face some criticism. He was following up probably one of the greatest leaders of all time, Moses. And can you imagine the criticism that Joshua would have ran into? Well, right at the very beginning of the book, in Joshua 1:9, God gives Joshua some direction on a way to handle some criticism, you might say. God says to Joshua, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous," or be of good courage. Don't be terrified, don't be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So when we feel like there's nothing we can do, there's nothing we can say, and it feels like we're going nowhere, I think we've got to turn to what God directed Joshua. Realize who's with us. In fact, it reminded me of another psalm. And in this particular psalm, it talks about where we can look and, in a sense, where we can place some of those troubles and discouragement and the criticism. Psalm 55, verse 22 says, "Cast your cares on the Lord, He will sustain you." So when we are burdened with criticism, let's look to God, because as we do that, then we will be able to say what's right. We will be able to do what's right, and ultimately, we'll be able to become like Christ. That's BT Daily. We'll see you next time.